The lightweight division is on absolute fire right now. It is one of the hottest divisions out there. We just saw Gervonta Davis knock out Frank Martin. Keyshawn Davis goes out there and puts on a clinic against Madueno. Loma goes and snatches up another belt by beating Kambosos. Every time we see Abdullah Mason out there, he's looking better and better. Like, there is a lot to like about 135 pounds right now. But one of the things that I think is best about it is that we're going to continue to see good fights going forward, right? As soon as Gervonta Davis gets done with Frank Martin, he immediately starts talking about Lomachenko. And look, I'll be the first to admit that that's a fight that I would have wanted to see a little while ago. I liked it back in 2017, 2018, even 2019, something like that. But we all remember at that time, that's when Loma was calling for it. Gervonta said, he's the one who's in a rush. I don't need to rush. I can wait. Now, all of a sudden, they're talking about the fight in 2024. And I'm thinking, okay, look, this may not be exactly when I wanted it, but these are still two world champions. These are still two guys who are at the absolute top of the division, 135 pounds. This is going to be a good fight. This is going to be a fight that we're all going to enjoy seeing. Now, all of a sudden, Lomachenko comes out and says, you know what? I'm not feeling it. A couple of days ago, we get an announcement from his manager, says he's not feeling the motivation he wants for the fight, wants to go out and spend some more time with his family, and that's not one that we're going to get until potentially 2025. You know, it is what it is, man. But I got to be honest, as much as I disliked hearing that, as much as I wanted to see that fight, now we don't get to see it. Look at these options that we're talking about. We're talking about potentially getting a fight between Gervonta Davis and Shakur, William Zepeda, or a rematch with Isaac Cruz. Now, if you're asking me the order I would want to see those, well, first, I'd want to see him tangle with Shakur. Next one, I would say Zepeda, and then we'd be talking about a rematch with Cruz. I mean, as much as I'd like to see that rematch with Cruz, to be perfectly honest, it's not even one I really entertain. We got Cruz up at 140 now holding the belt. He's got to get through Valenzuela on August 3rd. That is going to be an awesome fight in and of itself. There's plenty of guys that are currently at 135 pounds that have never stepped in the ring with Gervonta Davis that I want to see him get in there with. Now, are those fights that we're going to see happening? Is that talk? Are we going to see him in with Loma? I got to figure yes. With as much talk as going on, as real and as close as that fight with Loma was, up to and including hearing guys like Bob Arum talk about it, you got to think that Gervonta Davis is going to continue to look for these big fights. He generates big money, so guys are going to want to step in there with him. Interesting to see what happens there. Now, we just saw Keyshawn Davis go out there and put on this clinic against Madueno. And almost as soon as that fight ends, he jumps right on Twitter and he's calling guys out and he's talking. And one of the guys that he's talking about is Murataya. Said that he was bummed, said that he lost the fight, said that he thought Tevin Farmer should have won that he wants to call him out and he's stepping in the ring. That's a fight that I would like to see. You know, I can respect that. You know, Keyshawn Davis, he's out there. He's called out a lot of people in like the last 10, 12 months. We've heard him mention a lot of names and a lot of fights that he's talking about. But this one is one that I think is really legit. This is a fight that I want to see. Murataya is above him in the rankings, but I don't think he's necessarily getting ahead of himself by calling out this fight. On the flip side of that, he's also out there calling out Teofimo. And it's like, settle down, man. Settle down. Call out some people in your weight class. Conquer that weight class first. Then let's see what's next. The WBC goes out there and orders Shakur Stevenson to defend against William Zepeda. Now, this would be an awesome fight. Now, just because we saw this one get mandated, just because we saw them get ordered for this thing, it doesn't really amount to anything. I thought it was hilarious. Oscar De La Hoya came out on his thing, and basically he said the same thing. He's like, David Benavidez got mandated to be the challenger against Canelo, and how did that work out? So just because they go out there and they say that Shakur needs to defend against Zepeda, that doesn't mean that's a fight we're going to see. That being said, that's a fight I'd love to see. That would be an awesome one. Do we all know what William Zepeda brings to the table as far as that work rate, as far as his tenacity and the skill level that he brings? Think about how that's going to match up against a guy with the defensive prowess and the counterpunching ability of Shakur Stevenson. Now, I mentioned counterpunching ability. We all know one of the big knocks against him is that he doesn't let his hands go enough, that he doesn't take enough of those counterpunching opportunities. That being said, when he does take them, they're great. He goes in there. He's an incredibly skilled fighter, and maybe Zepeda will be the guy with the work rate and the tenacity and everything that he brings with the aggression. Maybe he'll be the guy to bring that best out of Shakur Stevenson. I don't know. Who knows? Only time will tell. And if that one falls through, we already saw Shakur jump on there and talk about, who do you want to see me fight next, Murataya or Kambosos? Now, I'll be the first to admit, I don't think Kambosos is the elite in the division anymore. Dude, I think he just, he caught a shooting star when he was able to go out there and he was able to snatch it up from Teofimo. He put himself in this talk that he had never been in prior to that win, and he stayed amongst these top division talks and guys for a long time now. And let's not overlook the fact that one of the reasons that he stayed in this talk and in this title contention and mentioned amongst these top guys isn't necessarily the performances that he's been putting on, because he's been going on there and he's been getting the brakes beat off of him for a while now. It's because of the money that he generates. particularly over in Australia, when you fight George Kambosos in Australia, that's going to be a big ticket affair. And everybody wants to be a part of that. Kambosos is never going to turn down the big fights. So we hear Shakur calling him out here, but we all know what's going to happen if that fight goes down. So let me know what you guys think. Have you been impressed with the fights that we've been seeing at lightweight recently? And what are the ones that you're most looking forward to in the next 8 to 10 months?